I'm David Kennedy. Joining me today is our very own Kelsey Davis. Kelsey, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, David?
I'm doing well. Also, we have Breck Jones in the studio, who had a nice little vacation down in Starkville earlier this week to see A.J. Brown put on the red and blue hat. How was your Starkville adventure, Breck?
Oh, it was pretty interesting. It was crowded. It was a lot of people there, but, you know, he signed with the Rebels, so I guess most people here in Oxford are pretty happy.
Now, wrapping up signing day, Ole Miss brought in a historic class. Kelsey, how did you feel about signing day?
I felt great about it. Obviously, it's one of Hugh Freeze's best class. I think it's very deep, and I think that it's going to be so interesting to see what they can do the next few years.
I completely agree. And Breck, what did you think about the class?
I mean, I don't know how you can complain about a top 10 class. They brought in the #1 quarterback, the #1 offensive tackle. I think this was a great class.
Now, the Rebels signed their best class in school history, obviously, with 3 5-star recruits and some highly sought-after 4-star guys, too. They also had a lot of underrated guys coming in. Kelsey, who's your diamond in the rough player you really see in this class?
I think that the most underrated player they brought in is Octavius Cooley. He's a tight end coming out of Laurel, Mississippi. He's 6'3", 220. He reminds me a lot of the similar build of Evan Ingram, and I think a lot of people haven't been talking about him because he played a lot of wide receiver in high school, but he is coming in as tight end. Obviously, Evan's staying, and he'll be like, the good thing about that is he'll have a year to learn under Evan Ingram, get used to the spots. They have very similar builds. They remind me a lot of each other, and Coach Freeze called him a star in their post-signing day press conference.
And Breck, what did you think? Who is the biggest diamond in the rough in this class?
I think it was 4-star Charles Wiley. I think Wiley is very underrated. He's 6'2½", 234 pounds, but he's a freak athletically. He can run. He played a lot of defensive end in high school, but they think he can bounce between either linebacker or defensive end just because of his pure athleticism.
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him on the field, Breck. Now, looking ahead to the class of 2017, the Rebels have a lot of work to do. They may only have 1 recruit committed, but he's an absolute stud. Kelsey, what can you tell me about D.D. Bowie?
Okay, so D.D. Bowie is coming out of Morton, Mississippi. He's a wide receiver. He's long, he's lean, he's very fast. I think it's going to be interesting to see how he progresses, but he's looking like a top get for the Rebs.
And the Rebels always seem to bring in the big wide receivers every year, Breck, but what position could they really, need to start focusing on more for the future?
I think it's linebacker. You know, they've had a couple misses the past few years in the linebacking recruiting, and I think one place to look next year is Starkville again. I think Willie Gay, he's one of the top linebackers in the country, and they proved this year that they can go into Starkville and pull a kid out of there with A.J. Brown. So I think he's one to look forward to.
And, historically, the Rebels have always been able to pull guys, who have players from other high schools there, too. Now, keeping it local, the Oxford Chargers will have 4 players in the Division I ranks next year. Jack Abraham, Zach Hauser, and D.K. Metcalf all have full rides to the schools they signed with on Wednesday. But 3-star defensive end Corbin Harbin will be playing practically for free this fall. Jack Bedrosian has the story.
3-star defensive end Corbin Harmon from Oxford High School got offers from Duke, ULL, Memphis, Ohio, and Middle Tennessee State. But he decided to stay home as a preferred walk-on.
Some of the offers that I had, some of them backed out, some of them had new coaching staff came in and a whole bunch of stuff, and I felt like home, preferred walk-on, Ole Miss would be good for me.
Harmon's ties to Ole Miss started with his parents. Both attended the university. His dad, Michael, even played football for the school.
I'm feeling good for us as a family, feeling good for Corbin because I know this has always been his dream school. So today is about him and him living his dream, and we're here to support him.
Harmon will be joining his friend D.K. Metcalf on the field next year.
Everybody is going to like what they see from those guys. I mean, they're the whole package. They're great, like I said, great character guys, great students, and great people on top of being great football players. So they're the whole package.
I've been going over there for the past 3 years, and just, to make it official just puts icing on the cake. Been playing with them since middle school, so hopefully be fun. We're going to hopefully room together, too.
Harmon and Metcalf will begin practice in August with 2-a-days. Jack Bedrosian, NewsWatch 99.
Now, what a great story to have a guy who gave up an instant free education to play for his hometown team. Coming up, more local Oxford football talk when Cody Thomas joins us in the studio.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter, It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
We gotta get back to the fundamentals. I got boys who can't tie their own shoes. Literally. Let me get this straight. We were 4 for 47 from the floor. Pizza party? Pizza party? What team were you watching? We were lucky to win. Most teams that turn it over 83 times don't pull it out. They all play like a bunch of first graders, and that's completely unacceptable because they're all in the second grade. Oh, I'll be filing a complaint against the refs on that one. Kid's little sister runs out on the court and they stop a fast break. What are we doing? We get a trophy for what? Participation? If they cared as much about this game as they did them damn Hawaiian punches, we'd be world champions. Any more questions?
Who's got snacks next game?
That'd be Billy's mom.
Welcome back to RebelWatch. I'm David Kennedy. Joining me today is Cody Thomason. Cody, how are you doing, man?
Doing well.
Now, Cody, signing day was not only a big day for Ole Miss, but it was also a big day for Lafayette and Oxford High School. What is it like to have so many, great prospects in the local area, especially with a couple coming to three coming to Ole Miss next year?
It's crazy just having this much talent in the same town and separated by two separate high schools. But I mean, there's a lot of good guys coming, and like you said, 3 coming to Ole Miss that could definitely have an impact.
Now, everyone knows who DK Metcalf is, but across the street is Eli Johnson at Lafayette High School. Eli, is a very good offensive lineman. He can play center, he can play guard, he can play tackle. Tell me a little bit about where you think he will eventually end up playing at Ole Miss.
I think Eli Johnson's a great fit for the center position. I think that's really where the coaches see him playing. But he's definitely a guy that's worked hard at Lafayette High School, and I think hitting that center position, he can really fight for a spot. Maybe not immediately, but he's definitely got a future there.
Now, back over the summer, former All-State running back Kinsey Phillips was arrested for stealing stuff out of cars at the Hub. He got suspended, missed his entire senior season, and lost, the chance for a Division I scholarship. But right before signing day, a JUCO team offered him, a second chance. Do you think he's going to be able to take advantage of it and, get his life back on track?
I definitely hope so. It's good that a JUCO believes in him like that. He's a very talented prospect, really had a great junior season rushing the ball for Oxford. So hopefully he can get it together. I think, I like to think that he'll, take care of his second chance and do something at the JUCO, but we'll have to see.
Now, the biggest story signing day here in Oxford was 3-star defensive end Corbin Harmon, didn't take an offer from Duke or Memphis. Instead, he accepted a walk-on referral to Ole Miss. Do you think he can eventually, earn some playing times and, more importantly, a scholarship for him?
I definitely thought he would go to Duke when I saw he had that offer, and I was a little puzzled when he went to Ole Miss. But now, looking at who Ole Miss brought in that signing class at defensive end and linebacker, he's got a great chance to play and get a scholarship there. There's not really a lot of linebackers in this class, along with defensive end, so he's got a great chance to make a play on special teams and even eventually get in that rotation on defensive end or linebacker.
Thanks for coming in, Cody. When we return to Rebel Watch, we'll have Jacob Duke in studio to take a look at one Rebel who's finally starting to shine for the Ole Miss basketball team.
I feel like last year, really, we didn't get what we should have. We didn't do what we should. We're going to get it. We're coming out. We're not leaving it up to anybody else. We're going to go out and do it ourselves by how we play, how we work, how we tackle. We are going to. Let's go.
Welcome back to Rebel Watch. I'm Jacob Duke. The Ole Miss women's basketball team traveled to Tuscaloosa, Alabama yesterday to take on the Crimson Tide. Ole Miss held the Tide to 48 points but shot 22% for the game, going 13 of 38 from the field. Chandrika Sessoms led the Rebels with 15 points, which was their 6th straight game in double figures. They are now 10-12 in the season and just 2-7 in SEC play. Their next game will be this Sunday against Georgia at 1. Over in men's hoops, the Rebels just barely escaped Missouri on Wednesday. It was a big SEC win for the Rebels thanks to Stephon Moody and Tomas Giello.
Ole Miss kept their hopes alive of making the NCAA tournament thanks to the heroics of Tomas Giello and Stephon Moody against Missouri. At 4-5 in the SEC, head coach Andy Kennedy believes it's time to get back on track.
Tomas stepped up in a huge way. You typically can't win SEC road games regardless of the opponent when you turn it over 17 times and you allow the other team to shoot 50% in their own building. The way we were able to do that was we shoot a season high. We make a season high 14 threes at about 50%. We make over 80% of our free throws. So we made every big play we needed to offensively down the stretch.
They'll be taking on a tough Vanderbilt team who just defeated number 8 Texas A&M last night.
Man, they're good. You know, when you look at their record at 12-9, no one really knows what's happening in somebody else's team. But I think many people, I remember maybe Seth Greenberg predicted them to be a dark horse for a Final Four. I know when I filled out my ballot for who I thought was going to win the league, I put Vanderbilt on the one line. I just think they have all the pieces. And, you know, we're 2/3 through the regular season. They're still very capable of going on a tremendous run and real.
The Rebels will be taking on a tough Vanderbilt team this Saturday, who is coming off a 77-60 upset win over number 8 Texas A&M. Vanderbilt can really spread the floor and shoot just from about anywhere. This weekend's matchup could be a tall task for Ole Miss. Back to you guys at the desk.
Journey with the Rebels has been a roller coaster. The senior Poland native averages a decent 8.2 points, 3.6 rebounds, and 1.7 assists, but he was brought to Ole Miss as a stretch 4, yet he's shooting just 34% on the season. With not just a game on the line on Wednesday against Missouri, but with any potential hope of making the NCAA tournament, Giello arguably saved Ole Miss's season as he scored 16 points and knocked down a three-pointer with 56 seconds left that brought Ole Miss to within a point. And in the final seconds, Stephon Moody was fouled and would knock down 2 free throws to pick up the 4th SEC win of the season.
We saw that if I set a flat screen with Moody, if Moody has the ball and I set a flat screen, my guy has to help because, you know, it's Stephon Moody. You won't let him get a shot off. And, you know, after that, he just threw the ball back to me. I felt like I was open, took this shot and made it.
With 9 regular season games remaining, Giello is trying to make the most of his opportunity at Ole Miss.
One of the key things about Coach Kennedy is he kept telling me, you know, even though I missed those shots, he said, hey, for the rest of the season, those shots are always going to be there. So now it's up to you. Are you willing to step up and take advantage of it? Or should I look for somebody else on the bench to take those shots?
Look for Giello to continue his recent success on Saturday as Ole Miss takes on Vanderbilt. Grounding Stubbs, Rebel Watch.
Now the basketball team, you know, played well enough to pull out a win over Mizzou. What do they got to do to keep the ball rolling going forward, Kelsey?
I really feel like we talk about him all the time, but you cannot talk about Stephon Moody enough. It's entirely a different team when he's playing well. It's seriously 2 different teams when you see Stephon Moody on a roll and when he was injured or when he's just not on fire like he normally is. I think he's a huge key to success for the Rebels this weekend, obviously. But I mean, other than that, it's going to be a pretty evenly matched game. Vandy's also 5-4 in the SEC, just like Ole Miss is. But right now, they're really on a roll. They've won a bunch of their last games. They won their last 5 games in the SEC, and they're on a roll. So it's going to be a tough game for the Rebs.
I completely agree. Stephon Moody is really the guy that is the catalyst of this team. But Breck, Who's going to be there to back them up and help them pull out a win over Vanderbilt Saturday?
I think it's got to be Marcanvis Hyman. With the absence of Sebastian Saiz, when he's still dealing with that eye injury, you got to have a big man down low that's got to be able to pick up some boards and score on some second chance points. And I think it's got to be him. I think he's talented. I think he reminds me a little bit of Murphy Holloway, a former Rebel, but I think it's got to be Hyman to step up and really help him out.
Now on to the picks. Kelsey, are you going to pick against Ole Miss again this weekend?
I am. And I don't even feel a little bit bad about it. I'm taking Vandy 76-58 over Ole Miss. I don't think they can do it. I have no faith in this Ole Miss team right now. I'm taking Vandy.
Breck, are you with Kelsey on this one?
Yeah, I am. I actually have Vandy winning 68-61. You know, Vandy's a great shooting team. They just beat Texas A&M, who's leading the conference by 17. They beat Florida. I don't know. I can't see the Rebs pulling that one out.
Bringing them over to my side.
So you're all on the Commodores, huh? Now, my dad is actually a Vanderbilt grad, but sorry, Dad. Ole Miss is going to win this weekend, 75-71. Now, the basketball team is not the only Rebel squad playing Vanderbilt this weekend. Coming up, we will break down the Ice Rebs' first-round matchup against the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Now, time for my personal favorite. The Ole Miss hockey team will be traveling to the Ford Ice Center in Nashville for the SEC Championship this weekend. I got a chance to check in with a few players and head coach Rezina before they departed for the Music City.
Well, if you look at our history, we've never made it past our first round because we usually get paired up with a pretty good team, and I just have a history of not winning. But we paired up against Vanderbilt, who we've already played earlier in the season. So we kind of already know what we're looking at. And Vandy is a good team this year. They beat D1 Alabama. So we know what we're looking at when we go in.
For the guys who are retiring, if you will, after this year, it's really do or die. Each game could be your last one, so you want to go out there and you want to leave everything on the ice. You know, something you can look back on and say you did the best you could.
We got to win the whole thing, to be honest. I mean, you know, like I said, our record doesn't show you know, just how talented we are, and you know, with the rankings, with us being unranked, it's going to be tough if we don't win it to even get a spot up there. So I think in order to prove ourselves, we got to win the whole thing.
I think we can go all the way. I don't see any reason why we couldn't. Just looking at the way the bracket's playing out, even without the bracket, I think we can play with any team that's going to be at the tournament. And the way the bracket plays out, it's very possible for us to end up there in that championship.
Now, after 3 straight years of going to the national championship, the Ice Rebs are in danger of not even being there. Kelsey, what do the Ice Rebs need to do to get that bid this year?
Right, now I'm a recent Ice Rebs fan. They might be my new favorite Rebs. As much as I am against or not believing in the Ole Miss men's basketball team, I'm believing in the Ice Rebs right now. And I think the biggest key for them to get that bid is they have to win their first game of the SEC tournament. That would be the first time they ever won it. They always lose in the first game of the SEC tournament. So I think to really make believers out of the rest of everybody else, they already have me, but to make believers out of everybody else, they need to win that first game of the SEC tournament.
Now, Breck, to keep Kelsey believing, the Rebels are going to have to beat Vanderbilt. And if they do beat Vanderbilt, who else do they have to beat in this tournament to get berth to the national championship?
Well, one of the bigger teams, best teams in the conference is Arkansas. Arkansas is an absolute powerhouse in hockey. They have a D1 team and a D3 team, which they kind of use like a minor league system for their D1 program. The Rebs got to stay out of the penalty box. They got to have success on power plays, limit their turnovers, and Cameron Ragland has to play like Henrik Lundqvist.
I completely agree, Breck. Now, with hockey and football season coming to an end, the Ole Miss baseball team is getting ready for their opening series against Florida Atlantic University, February 19th. Now we'll send it over to Abby, who is live at Swayze Field. Hey, Abby.
Hey everybody, I'm here live at Swayze Field where the Rebels are currently in the middle of an inter-squad game that started here at about 2:30. The 2016 season is quickly approaching, and yesterday I had a chance to talk to preseason All-American shortstop Errol Robinson about what he expects for this upcoming season.
Really just, play the game. Like I said, you got to lead by example, and hopefully, we got 7
No,
to 9
we got a discussion
starters back, so that'll be great for us. The leadership is there, the experience is there, so now we just got to play baseball. My biggest thing is just focusing on wins. Wins will get it done, and it'll take care of itself as long as I focus on the team and everything that I've been doing for the past 2 years. Absolutely. You don't go into a season thinking that you're not gonna give it your all or you're not gonna make it. Otherwise we go somewhere else. But absolutely. At any point, baseball is such a great game that anybody can win on any given day, and hopefully that's us this year, and I think it will be.
Thanks, Abby. The Ole Miss baseball team looks like it's shaping up to be a good season. Kelsey, who are you looking forward to watching out there, come February 19th the most?
We just saw him, but I'm really looking forward to Errol Robinson. First of all, he's a fan favorite. I think that the way the Ole Miss Rebel fans got behind Sykes Orvis, they're about to get behind Errol Robinson. He's going to be the new face of Ole Miss baseball, if you ask me. So he's been starting since his freshman year. So going into his junior season, he's going to be an experienced leader for this team. And I think he's absolutely an impact player. He led the team in hits, and he also had the second leading batting average last season. I really think that he's going to be a player to watch for the Rebs this year.
Now, Breck, can Errol Robinson lead, the Ole Miss Rebels to another trip to Omaha this year, you think?
Well, that's kind of a tough question to answer there. I think a lot of it has to do more about the bullpen depth and if they can stay healthy with their pitching staff. Last year they had problems with that. Sean Johnson, who was supposed to be a weekend starter, obviously had to have Tommy John and didn't even get to play last year. And I think they've just got to develop that bullpen depth. They've got to have consistent offense, which was something that was kind of lacking last year. But Errol, if he takes another step forward, if Colby Bortles takes another step forward, I expect them to be a really good team. I think that they'll probably make it back to regionals with the potential to make it to a super regional.
Now, before baseball season can begin, football season must end. When we come back, we'll let you know where you can watch the Super Bowl this Sunday and give you our picks.
Todd's a great guy. Look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Guys, Super Bowl Sunday is probably one of the most fun Sundays of the year, and it looks like in Oxford there's going to be a whole lot for you to do. But what are you two looking forward to doing the most about the Super Bowl this year?
I am absolutely ecstatic that the Panthers are there. I think that they're going to be so fun to watch. Cam Newton and that whole offense is so explosive. Plus, you know, it's always fun to get to see him dab in the end zone. Nobody's mad about that. But also, you know, I'm from Atlanta. I would love to say that we beat the Super Bowl champions. We didn't beat much of anybody else, so that would be nice. But I'm definitely excited to see that explosive Panther offense. Really, I think they're really going to take it to the Broncos.
Now, Breck, there's another big-time quarterback playing in this game, but it's not been quite the season he imagined. Are you looking forward to seeing Peyton play?
I think we're all looking forward to seeing Peyton play, but the question is, how healthy is he? I mean, you could see in the divisional round and the championship round against the Patriots that his arm just wasn't there. It's not the same Peyton as we saw in years past. And we're seeing, can he physically do it? All the headlines have been about Cam Newton, but I think the question is, can they win in spite of Peyton instead of because of Peyton?
So, guys, it's our last football picks of the year. I know, pretty depressing, but looks like it's going to be an exciting game. Kelsey, who do you have winning Super Bowl 50?
Taking Cam and the Panthers. I got Carolina 28-7 over the Broncos. I think Peyton's a little old. I don't think he can do it.
It's hard to argue.
What about you, Breck? Who are you going with?
I'm going with the Panthers as well. I don't think Peyton can get it done. I'm going 24-14 Panthers.
I'm going to have to agree with both of you. And if that score on the screen looks any familiar, it's because that's the same score Peyton Manning lost to when he played the Seattle Seahawks 2 years ago. Now, you know, that's all our show today. I'd like to thank Kelsey Davis and Breck Jones for coming out, and we'll see you a week from today again on RebelWatch. And go Panthers.